Hey guys, I was going to do a new video on these new Tour 9 holes. They are the haunted holes. And I'm just showing you the way my bag's set up. I am going to be hopefully getting a bunch of different of the new holes. It seems like there's been a lot of the new holes. Every time that I click on these and try to get a game, they're giving me a lot of the new par 5s and the new par 4 as well, but I don't always get it. As you can see here, this is one of the old holes, but it has kind of the new decor, which is kind of lit up at the night. They got these lamp posts as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a navigator. Then I'm going to aim over here. Go full ball on it. Trying to cut out a little bit of this corner. Looks like I didn't have enough power to get there. It was about a yard or two short of getting into that other fairway. It would have hopped the bunker and been up there. His ball's going with a little bit more curl. You can do it this way too. I usually skip it through that rough with my second hop. If you curl it like he did, you can sometimes ride that fairway. Kind of how you saw his ball do. So for this one, I'm going to play quite a bit of wind. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of up towards this white ring right here. Should get me pretty close if I can manage to hit a perfect ball. Looks like I missed my perfect ball. But looks like I still got the shot. So I was underplaying it. Looks like I went to that white ring, which was about 5 rings. And it was probably closer to 6.5 on that wind. More so because of the way that the side wind caused the shot shape to change. So instead of what you saw on my shot trail, it was doing something a little bit more aggressive, which was changing the way that the ball was spinning after it landed. So typically you'll want to overplay it by at least a couple, at least one ring for sure, or you can try to counter it with a little bit of curl. Typically on a wind like that, I would try to do 2 bars of counter spin if I was using it. So I would, if I wanted to just counter that wind and have it go pretty straight, what I would do is I'd go 2 bars left. And then hit it exactly how I did, trying to hit a perfect ball. It would have been equivalent to that great ball, or pretty close to equivalent. So here we're getting one of the new, actually no, I don't think this is the new one. Yeah, this is another old hole. But that's okay, because I should be able to show you kind of a shot that I like to do on this hole. Now I think I should be able to get over to the other side pretty far. I'm surprised he's not going for it with that wind. I would totally go for it here. There's no way you're not going to get over with an Apocalypse 6 here. So I'm not really sure what his crisis was there. Maybe he didn't want to pull out, because you might have needed to do a tighten there. But he could have definitely got there. So I'm not sure why he didn't want to. So I get a little bit more pointed wind than he did. I will not need a tighten. I'd kind of like to hit that rough right over, so I'm going to try to figure out how to make that happen. Because if I launch the rough, I'm probably going to run through the fairway. So what I'm looking for is that second hop, to catch the rough, and then slot. Oh no, I got too aggressive with it. It did exactly what I wanted. I just got too aggressive on the right side. And that's unfortunate because I got so much wind here. I could have got really aggressive, and that's what I wanted to show you, is kind of what I could do with that next shot from that fairway, especially on a wind like that. But I'll still be able to get pretty aggressive if I get that same wind. So I'm really hoping they give it to me. Because I'm going to do something more along the lines of what he just did, which was full shank it. He didn't get aggressive enough with his line to hold that, but it lets you really sling the ball down there a long way. So let's see. Hopefully, I got a pretty solid wind. It's a little bit harder to do with a navigator, and sure, of course, it's a little bit harder to do in the rough too. But I'm going to see if I can dial this up here. I know it's going to be about 3 bars, give or take. But I'm going to want to add some for this wind that they're giving me, how it's pointing. So as long as I can hold that fairway, it shouldn't be too bad. I should be able to get it with a short iron here on this next shot. I don't think I quite got it close enough for my end-bringer. It looks like I could go at it with the end bringer. It's not really worth it. It's going to be a little bit easier to do it. I'm going to have to play less wind if I use a claw here. And kind of keep it on the short end of the club here. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get it to where it's not in such a glitchy spot though. Kind of like here. Then I'm going to do roughly 3 bars or so. It looks like I just underplayed it. Tiny bit. I was trying to counter it there. It was a large side wind. I probably should have went like 3.5 of my rings there. I should have went like somewhere into that black ring with the aim. I was trying to counter it a little bit. I was getting a little too close on time, so think that definitely affected what I was doing a little bit. So let's see if they can give us one of the new par 3s this time. Nope, of course not. Why did I try to set up this video and then we just get all the old holes? I've been playing the new holes all morning. I've got at least like 2 playthroughs on, I think, each new hole. So I probably played about 8 holes, like 8 total holes. I think I've played them all about twice. I think there's 4 new holes or 5 new holes. Maybe I haven't played them all. Or no, I've played them all. I think it's 2 par 3. I've only played one of the par 3s one time. It's the one that goes around the water. I've only got that one time so far. So in this one, you always want to overplay your wind. For whatever reason, I think you're shooting down to a lower elevation. The wind always overplays. So here you see I'm downwind. I'm going to do somewhere in the 3, 3 1/4, 3 1/2 of backspin, somewhere in there. Aside from that, I'm going to aim about here. And then I'm going to do, so for 9, I'm gonna need to play this about 9 rings, give or take. So I'll go over here, and then I'll go over here, and this should be relatively good. It looks like I overplayed it by either a ring or a ring or 2. A great ball there would have put it pretty on line. You definitely want to try to overcorrect. Overcorrecting like accounts for that side spin as well. That's definitely one of the things that you want to keep in mind. But that hole, notoriously, since it's downwind, you have to play extra wind that you're not used to. Looks like they're a little slow to give me an opponent, but finally, we have gotten a new hole. This is a tricky little tight fairway par 5. Both of them are pretty tricky. This wind is going to make it extra tricky. I might put on a Kingsmaker here. Try to see if I can get over to that other fairway. I've never encountered a wind like this the other times I've played it. So I'm not really sure the best way to go. I'm assuming the best way is probably the safe route, which is over where this guy's going. Chances are he's not getting home until. Chances are with that shank ball, he might not even stay in the fairway. So that's one other thing. If you're going to play the safe shot, make sure you're playing the safe shot. That fairway over there is huge. You might as well make sure you're going to hit it if you're going to go that way. It looks to me like I can get over, for sure. The question is, The biggest question that I'm wondering is if I'm going to run out of fairway if I actually go for this shot. I'm a little afraid that I am going to run out of fairway, but let's try it anyway. See if I can get over the water. Yep, it hit the rough, so it's in the fairway. I was worried that it wasn't going to get, that second bounce was going to not hit the fairway, and as you see, it didn't. Even getting over where I did, I really needed my cataclysm for this hole. When I play the tournament, I'm probably going to put my cataclysm back on. This hammerhead that I'm using is very similar to Sniper. So I'm kind of on a level playing field with the way most guys are going to play. I think I have maybe a couple extra yards that I can get on this hammerhead, but it pretty much models it. And more of the yards have to do about topspin than anything. I can topspin this one a little bit more. And it's looking like I can probably try to play it off, like try to get that second hop to hit that rough. And if it hits the rough, it should run through and almost get there in two. It'll be just a little bit short. So I'm going to account for about 6 rings, which is about in the bunker for that 7 mile per hour wind. And then I'm just going to try to go for perfect. And it looks like I might have released a little bit early. It's going to take off 2 rings, but it's a safe shot. I missed the safe way. Chances, oh, and I didn't even get that. Crap. I was really hoping that I was going to get that rough bounce on that second hop and didn't. But nevertheless, I'm up by the green. Just have to pop it in, and I could win this hole outright. Now, I don't feel that I necessarily need to win this hole outright. I'd really like to get the par 3. So hopefully, I'm not going to go for the hole out from that bunker, but I am going to try to play something. Because I've never been there. So I want to at least see kind of the way that the ball's going to respond. You see how glitchy that fairway is. It's unbelievable. I was going towards the hole and then just peels off to the side. That's annoying. That makes me want to just, go for the dunk shot every time on just about anything that's imaginable. So one of the things that I'd probably try to do here would be just this. If I wanted to make this, I'd just do this. One of the things that I want to try to play around with a little bit is I'm going to put it over here on the right edge and then try to make it to where I can hit a perfect ball, and I actually did make the shot. So I just wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to see if I hit a perfect or a great ball to the left, if it would go in either way. Now it's going to be hard to confirm that because I made it anyway. But did you see how I was kind of putting it on the right edge of the hole and then hitting that? There's no way that wind was taking that ball. Like I was basically landing at a yard in front. So one of the things you just want to definitely do is make sure you're dead center with your aim arrow, and at least enough that's pulled straight back in the center. You might want to just pull back just a tiny bit more than dead center. Just to ensure that not only that it gets there, but that you're not landing it short and short hopping it. And you always want to see like I usually pull the shot arrow straight up and down to make sure that there's nothing funky going on in the green. Right before where I'm about to land it, because if there is, that's when I'll just go for the dunk. So here we got a lot of wind, straight in the face. Gonna keep a Titan on. I'm just trying to get it down as far as possible here because of how much wind that I'm dealing with here. Keeping it away from the bunker, hopefully keeping it in the fairway. And I got it down there a good ways too. So this is really a beneficial shot, being able to get it down there. Gives yourself a really good chance to try to make something. You see that guy tried to play a really curly shot. It's not really necessary. You saw the way that I did it. I mean, there's no reason you can't do what he did. See, and this is one of those things. That right over there is super glitchy. So I'm going to try to keep it on the short side here. And this is more towards a full club here. A full end bringer. So I'm going to need to go at least to recommended, which would be 11 rings here. But then I might need to do more because for correcting. For club correction, you might need to go a little bit more. So as you see, I'm trying to curl it a little bit. Definitely trying to hit that landing zone. Yeah, looks like I didn't need more. Looks like that would have been pretty spot on without that extra curl. I was really trying to counter some of those effects, especially being on the long end of the club. That means the wind was impacting that the most it possibly could. But it looks like I really didn't need that little extra bit. I know I went at least a full 11 rings for 11 miles per hour on that end bringer there. And I might have even went 12, and then I was still trying to counter a little bit more than that because I didn't want any of those late hops to put unnecessary right spin on top of what I was already correcting for. But that's okay. I'd rather get to the par 3 anyway. But I was able to show you kind of a rough landing zone there for a full end bringer. And typically I would have switched down so I could play less wind. So if I was playing that same wind on the short end of a claw, I would have only had to go on a claw 10. I would have only had to move about 4 bars as opposed to 11. But as you could see when I was pulling up that claw, it was doing some glitchy bounces to where it would show it would be rolling to the right, and then I'd move it a centimeter, and then it would go to the left of the hole, just on a baby adjustment. So you want to avoid spots like that on the fairway. And it looks like they finally gave us this hole. I've only played this one time. I know that the approach that I want to take is to hop it over this water. No curls, nothing fancy. I'm going to do it very similar to, I'm assuming, what this guy's about to do. Now, I'm not sure. I think you're going to need an overcorrection here. So normally on a Cataclysm 5, he would probably need to go 3-ish rings. And I'm assuming he might need to go 4 for this downhill shot. So it still looks like he did 3.5, somewhere in there. And it looks like he short landed it a little bit, just a tiny bit, but his spin was pretty spot on. It wasn't too bad. Now this is going to be a little bit easier shot for me, but I'm not going to be able to use his landing zone because he has 5 yards on me. So my club's going to be adjusted a little bit. And it looks like I'm kind of right in the middle of this club a little bit. Might need to do all right, so for mine, I'm going to do right about 5 rings, give or take. I missed it. I really needed that perfect ball there. Hopefully this doesn't cost me, but I know it's going to be over to the left quite a bit. And it did cost me. That was not a very good shot. So again, it's going to be some trial and error here. I'm not exactly 100% sure what to do there, but I'm assuming, so your stock shot, I can already tell you, is going to be basically no upspin, maybe even half of a backspin. You'll go like half a bar of a backspin. Since it was into the wind, I added an extra bar. And so it was into the wind 5. I wanted to do 1. And I was hoping my landing zone was going to kind of mirror his a little bit. And then I was just going to come inside of his, but with the way that I shanked it to the left there, I really ended up enhancing that wind, even though I underplayed it to begin with. I was running out of time. But no biggie. See if we can get 1 or 2 more of these new holes, and then end this video. Again, we're going back to a hole that we've already played. I'm going to try to do it this time. Since my aim's going to be a little bit different, I'm going to try to come in right about here as my landing zone with some curl. So I'll do about there. And now it's going to be coming a little bit too much to the left probably. It's probably going to hit the rough. Yep. It's not even going through the rough. It looks like I underplayed it anyway. Even if I didn't shank it like 3 yards or 4 yards. Nevertheless, hopefully I can, I don't always mind being in the rough because you really get to underplay the wind. Whereas if I was in the fairway, I'd have to play more wind, but it's easier to hit a perfect ball. So that's the only problem, is I might not get my perfect ball. But if I do get my perfect ball, you can almost count on that I might at least have it somewhere respectable to where it could go in. So you see, this guy has a lot of wind since he's only using one of those quasar balls. He's really laying back there pretty far. I don't like playing back here where he is. I'd rather get aggressive because I don't mind the rough that much. It's not that big a deal to me. And look at this. They gave us a 3.8. This is crazy. Crazy. I can get super aggressive. So the one thing that you just want to check is to make sure all these landing zones are, true. And as the way it's appearing here, they are. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not even going to need to go outside that red. With this adjustment, I'm just going to have to probably move somewhere inside that red. And then try to concentrate on perfect. Perfect ball. still, wow, that's still too much. Way overplayed that wind, it seems. Probably great ball there would have been perfect, so I was probably misplaying it by at least a yard and a half. It's how little you have to play those winds. A great ball would have probably been right on line. Hopefully on this one, they'll give us the new other par 3 for the tiebreaker. Either way, I'd be okay with showing you the same shot with a different wind. If they gave it, it'd be nice to get that other par 3 as well. So that way you could see kind of the way that different winds affect the ball. Okay, good. So it's the other new one. I've been doing this with a bump shot off this first fairway here. The 2 times I've played it. I think I've played it with an iron once, maybe a wood once. So I'm not really sure how much to add. I'd like to make this my landing zone. It looks like, natural might not be too bad. So here I'm going to do maybe half a bar just for this 8 wind. I'll do half a bar. I'm going to do, in terms of how many rings I'm going to go about 5 rings because I'm right on the short end of that hammerhead. Looks like it's coming in just a little bit too hot. So I went back to the very shortest part of that hammerhead. Looks like I didn't quite have didn't quite have enough to stop that thing. So probably going to lose this one, unless this guy overplays this. I mean, it should be pretty easy to shout copy me and beat me here, relatively speaking. Looks like he's using quite a bit more backspin than I am. So the only thing he might do is overcorrect on this wind, which it looks like he kind of is doing. So let's see how this plays out, because he definitely overcorrected his wind, not realizing that when you're on the short end of the club, you can't pull all that back. So I know his isn't going to run out to the hole, but is he going to be close enough to beat me? That's the question. And look at that. I mean, just stupid, like how close and ridiculous that was. 0.02 difference. 2 completely different shots. But you could kind of see what happened there. He basically played the wind as if it was, towards the end of his sniper. He probably put the right spin on it. And so I'd kind of recommend doing what he just did. It looks like he did maybe 2.5 bars. I'd say 2 downwind might be about perfect. Just so that's probably what I would have been looking to do, would be about 2. But then just play that wind correctly. Because he over-adjusted at least 3 rings. Too much that I would expect him not to overcorrect. Like I wouldn't want to go that much by at least 2 or 3 rings, because you're on the very short end of that sniper, which means that it's not using as much wind. It doesn't go. So most people in the end of sniper, they'll use 1 ring per, like 1 ring per yard. So if it's 10 mile per hour wind, you'll go back 10 rings. It looks like he counted back 8 or 9 rings there for an 8 or 9 wind. So it's like you're overcorrecting. You're playing it off the high end of that club when you should be playing it off the short end of the club. So what you're seeing here is this guy just tried to hook this. You're going to see me try to do the exact same thing. No doubt about it. So I'm going to take off one topspin. And I'm going to make, so first I'm going to start here. My bullseye, the left part of my bullseye is still in the fairway, and then I'm stacking on top. Now this would be where I normally aim. I'm going to aim another 5 yards on top of that, or at least enough to correct for that wind on top of it. It looks like I got it. So there you have it. That's how you drive the green. On Tour 9 from the long tees. So I think that about wraps it up. I'm going to end this video after this demo. It looks like I got all the holes except for that monster par 5. I think it says hole 9 when you get it. It's a very long one. The first drive's really tricky. You keep it short of the water, but it's a really windy fairway. And it seems like it's going to be a real long beast hole. Could end up being 3 shots a lot of the time, depending on the wind. But it'll be nice to, get wins where you can get aggressive, especially if you're playing the tournament. If you can get a 2 on that hole, it's going to be a big deal. And that's why you see me getting aggressive with that drive. So let me explain what I did there. If you want to go back and look at that shot so you can still probably get away with that if you put maybe like a katana and put full side spin or something where you can really side spin it. You could probably still figure it out with a lower level apocalypse or even possibly a mile, but it would be risky with a mile. You might want to stay away from that, but you might be able to. But here's what I did with an apocalypse 5 or 6. Mine's a 6. It doesn't affect, it's not going to change the way my landing zone is though. So you saw in the fairway there, I put kind of the left part of my bullseye, which was the white. Kind of close, but still in the fairway on the very left side. And then I stack it and do another bullseye over to the right there. That's pretty much spot on for an Apocalypse 5, Apocalypse 6. Full hook, full everything, full ball is going to land about perfect where it would be on that right side. Now what you need to factor in on top of that is the wind. So you're going to see me at the very last second there at the end, I probably corrected another 4 rings to account for 6 mile per hour wind on top of that. And then I'll just do full slice or full hook. And you saw how I use full power, and it's pretty spot on aim-wise. So again, hopefully you can use that tip and you can figure out how to get to that other side. It might take a little bit of practice, especially if you're not using Apocalypse 5 or 6, because you're going to have to adjust differently. But if you can just figure out what your adjustments are, well, you'll be able to shank it like that every time, to where like you just need to figure out, like I figured out how many it is for a Titan ball. Now it's not always that so Titan and Kingsmaker seem to be about the same. But then I'll see the Quasar and the Navigators. That's not enough. I need to go another 2 or 3 rings because it has more shankability. So it'll shank more towards the left, and then the normal balls shank even more. So it's even more. It's almost like an extra 5 rings. It's like 2.5 full stackable sets which is like the equivalent. So that's how much shank you're getting. So it'd be like an entire bullseye plus another, and then plus it would be 5 rings on top of that for like a normal or a marlin ball. But that's only with Apocalypse 5 and 6. Like Apocalypse 4 has less accuracy. So that means your rings are bigger. So you need to factor that in. Same with Extra Mile. You're going to have bigger rings because it's not as accurate. So you're going to have to probably adjust less than what I'm doing because your circle's bigger. So you probably don't have to go as many over. But I would just play around with it, see if you can figure it out, and see if you can make minor corrections on my shots. Like none of those par 3 shots that I hit were, too wrong. I just haven't got enough plays yet to figure out exactly how I want to do it. I would recommend taking those approaches and just, playing with it. You just, like I was within, 1 bar of backspin from being perfect on both those par 3s. So it's just something to consider. Plus, the more times you play it, the more you realize, oh, well, this is this much more downhill. Like, I need to play a little bit extra for that wind because the landing zone is below me. So it's going to be affected. So like that one that bounces over the water, that's what you were seeing there, is you were seeing it was a little bit more downhill, so it affected the wind more. You saw my ball go to the left. Plus, I also hit a great ball to the left too, so it enhanced it. So again, my next time I play that hole from back there, I'll remember, well, I just need to go 1 extra ring. I need to play 1 extra ring because of the fact that I underplayed it by 2 rings last time. Well, 1 ring plus the shank, so 2 rings. So it's like, if I'd hit a perfect ball, it would have probably only been a ring off. So anyway, hopefully this video helped you guys, and hopefully for the tournament, you guys can put up a good number. Let me know if you guys need any more tips, videos. Feel free to subscribe. Good luck, all. Tournament starts on Monday.